committee would manage the integration of the DA and Agang SA structures and volunteers. To explain more of this process to us this morning, we joined in our Cape Town studios by DA Federal Chairperson, Dr. Wilmot James. Dr. James, good morning and thanks for your time. Well, as you've seen, you've heard, there's been mixed reaction across the board in the country about what Helen Zille announced yesterday, that Mamphela Ramphele will be your presidential candidate. Is the DA united behind her?
Well, good morning to you too, sir. Let me say that this is a time for unity. The voters and South Africans like united opposition. And this is a time for us to answer the problems that we have in our country with regards to jobs, security, and honest government. And what has happened is that our leader, Helen Zille, has briefed very, very carefully the federal executive of the party, which is the highest decision-making body of the party, between our council meetings and between our congresses that we have every 3 years. So the consultation was thorough, and there is full support in our structures to, in fact, support the move that has been made. What is now required, of course, is that we need to speak to the party membership, and we have agreed to do so in a systematic manner together with Dr. Ramphele, who will also need to address Agang structures. And we're going to have a roadshow. We are going to consult on a national basis. Now, the political elements of the agreement are secure, and what we need to do now is make sure that we draw on the strength of both parties in heading towards the election. And to do that, we need to incorporate the activists. We need to make sure that everybody focuses on what's required, and what is required is unity presently and not division. We need to focus on hope and not despair. We need to see the bigger picture. The bigger picture is to make a more compelling and powerful offer to the South African electorate.
Dr. James, do your colleagues like Lindiwe Mazibuko and Mmusi Maimane also see the bigger picture?
There's widespread excitement on the part of everybody, including Lindiwe Mazibuko and Mmusi Maimane. Mmusi is, of course, our candidate for Gauteng Premier. And the fact that Dr. Ramphele is now part of our leadership team, it strengthens his hand and his reputation and popularity and his electability. In the case of Lindiwe Mazibuko, she is our parliamentary leader presently. After the election, there will be a contest for parliamentary leader again. And that's a routine thing that happens. And, you know, we like competition. And so we want to draw the best talent into our leadership positions, and we have elections, and we honor the outcome of elections.
Dr. James, so, why now? I mean, why now? Why now has this happened? Because initially earlier, when Dr. Ramphele announced that she would be forming a political platform to go around the country, there were reports that the DA was also courting her, and then she publicly said she will not go to the DA because it is a so-called white party. Why now?
Well, the fact is that we've been talking over the last year. Sometimes the talk has been about controversial things. Sometimes the talks have been about uncontroversial things. Sometimes there have been times of silence, but we have always been talking. Let me just point that out. It's very important for a political leadership in any political party to have a conversation with other parties, whether they're adversaries or not. So what has happened, though, in the last 2 months is that there's been a shift in our political environment. That shift has to do with the fact that the Economic Freedom Front has been formed with Julius Malema. That's a change. The fact that NUMSA has, in fact, expressed some great disquiet and distanced itself from the ANC. That's a major change. There was a death of our hero, Mr. Nelson Mandela, former President Nelson Mandela. That shifted in terms of the absence of a moral voice that comes from 1994. That's powerful enough.
What are you?
That's a shift as well.
Okay, very
briefly, getting into the election.
Yeah, very briefly, what are you hoping to get? Are you hoping to get more black votes by having Dr. Ramphele as your presidential candidate? Very briefly, sir.
Well, what we are, every party hopes to get more votes. So clearly we're on a drive to get more votes, and every party is doing that. But it would be really superficial to see this as simply an effort to get more votes. What we require right now is unity among talented South Africans with integrity, who have a commitment to democracy, to constitutional government, and to creating a better life for South Africans.
Okay, thank you very much.
And
that's the
Dr.
DA Federal.
Ramphele
Sorry, Dr. James, we're going to have to leave you there. We just got Agang and Agang Gauteng leader on the line we've been trying to get. You've made your points clear. Thank you very much for your time. That's DA Federal Chairperson, Dr. Wilmot James.
You deserve to know more.
eNCA.com